Hello ladies and gentlemen, Panzer here and welcome back to Crossout. And today we're going to take a look at low-level builds. So, imagine you're a level 1. Maybe you are a level 1. Maybe you've just started the game and you're not really sure what you're doing. But maybe now you've got the parts to build something for yourself. Now I'm going to go run through a few tips generally for building. This is not your typical build video. I'm not going to be showing you a particular vehicle. So if you're looking for that, stay tuned for the next video because I am actually going to be doing something like that. This one is just a general builder's guide on how to actually build a vehicle with the least number of parts possible to get the same effect. So, let me show you something very quickly. Alright, so, what do you notice about the two different sides of this pickup truck? Now, let me say, well, yes, they're not symmetrical. And the people among you who are very particular about this will probably have your eyes twitching. But just calm the eye twitches for a moment, and just have a look at what this actually is. So this here is a wing. This is a structural part, and these are two fenders. Now the fenders themselves have 34 points of structure. That means after taking 34 points of damage, each piece will start to come away, whereas the wing has 67 points. Now it does have a higher power score, admittedly, a significantly higher power score, but what we're seeing here is a much higher structure point per part. So, what significance is there of that? So, if we have a look at this, let's just copy this back to the other side very quickly. You can see we have 350 points of structure there on the total vehicle at 1,715 power score. Now, if we get the wing back out, we can see we go up to 1,748, but we have 356 points of structure using only one part. So if I remove these and copy this to the other side, in theory what we have here is a better armored vehicle using less parts, because we can just simply stick a fender on top of that. We can put other parts on top of this to make sure it works. So this, I can then put that on there, and that on there. And simply by changing one set of parts, I already have above 400 points of structure. So you can see just how you can use the parts to their best, I guess, to the stats that they're best at. And right here, what we're looking at is structure points. Now, of course, the power score does increase very significantly by putting the wings on there. But if you are not running two machine guns, like I am on this vehicle, it actually shouldn't affect your power score too much. So we can even close this up. And we should still be good to go with that. Now, one main issue is that you have to bear in mind where the hitboxes are. So each one, assuming the hitboxes are bound to the shape of the actual structure, for example, this has a U shape right here, this does leave the radiators open to attack from the rear. So you can fix that by putting other parts such as van roofs on there. Or you can look at possibly putting fence pieces and things on there. There are a lot of considerations that need to be made. One of them also includes weight. Now, weight is a tricky issue because everything tends to be very heavy in this game. So, if you do find yourself putting a lot more armor on the vehicle, but you are only using something like a pickup cabin, or if you're using a buggy cabin, then you are going to have issues with weight. So one way of removing that weight is looking at the frame underneath. So the standard frames weigh 216 kilograms. That's pretty heavy. 5 of those will set you over a ton, but if you look at the lightweight frames instead, these are only 36 kilograms. While they don't have the same amount of structure, a good amount of armor around them will ensure that you don't get those ripped to pieces anyway. So, while I'm not advising everybody switch to lightweight frames immediately, it's just something to bear in mind if you are needing to be very weight conscious. The last thing I want to tell all of you, now, this is not by any means a comprehensive guide, but just one last thing. Don't neglect the decor parts. Now, I know that it might seem that they're just there for looks, but if you're at a low level and you need to get to level up fast, these can really make a difference. Right now, with the headlights, the fenders and the hell pipes providing 1% each. This gives me a total of 5%. That's pretty significant when you add up all of it together, and if you do play fairly well, this will start to improve your rewards very significantly. So if you do have the parts limit for it, like I do on this vehicle, then you can simply remove, or rather replace, some of the unnecessary small parts with some appearance parts just to get you a little bit more rep. And finally, before I go, I know a lot of people don't know this yet. Just one final tip. I know I said the last one was the last tip, but here it is. Fence pieces. They don't look particularly strong. They're 22 hit points, and they're fairly thin. But what these are actually armor. Now, far too often I see people with new vehicles building things with van roofs all over them, and while van roofs, let's have a look at those, they have 25 points of structure. Well, what makes the fence pieces different, in fact, it's the same for tin caps, it's the same for square covers, and it's pretty much the same for plows, bumper spikes, bumper catchers, and van bumpers, and any melee weapon, is that they have damage resistance. It can vary between them, but for the most part, I have seen fence pieces stop up to 50% of damage, and I can actually demonstrate this right now. So we know that the light machine gun will do roughly 7 damage. On average, it'll do about 7 damage. So if I shoot the cabin right now, let's see if I can get a good shot on the cabin here, you can see about 7 points of damage. However, if we go around to the back, that already goes down to 3. Same with the tin cap there and the square cover. If we go around to the side here, you can see the hatchet does actually cut it down to about 4 points of damage, and the plow does the same thing too. So something to bear in mind there if you're building something and you want to protect it a little bit more. Use those fence pieces and tin caps and any melee weapons as a form of defense. The reason I have this plow in here, this isn't actually a ramming vehicle. This is to actually protect it from the front. Because you can see here, it can negate a significant amount of damage. And as for the hatchet blades on the sides, they're actually there to prevent side rams. Because if you look at this, when I attempt to approach this vehicle from the side with my plow, it gets stopped by the hatchet blade. It looks a bit strange because the hatchet blade does actually stick out further than its appearance actually would appear to do. Its hitbox is actually quite a lot longer than that. So you can see there it seems to be pushing nothing. And what that does is it prevents me from gaining any contact with that rear wheel. I can, however, go around that and hit the tire directly. But when a vehicle is moving forward, good luck trying to avoid that blade entirely. So it's a good form of defense to simply put melee weapons around your vehicle and armor them up that way. But yeah, that's all I have for you right now. This has been the first of many sort of builder's guides that I'm thinking of doing. Let me know if you liked it, if you have any questions about the general tips that I've put here. This is by no means a comprehensive guide, and as I learn new things, I will be trying to share them with you as much as I can. But if you have enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, and my name is Panzer. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.